Okay, in the last two videos, we created the sheet that we're going to use to export the data to, and we created our membership questions. Now we need to tie this Facebook group into Group Maximizer. You'll do that. We're still over in this left menu under the Manage tab, and you want to go a couple up from membership questions to where it says Member Requests. All right, now this one just popped up, this Group Maximizer with these two buttons. Sometimes that'll take a moment or two, and if you don't see it, just click your Group Maximizer icon up here so that this is kind of open, and it should show up. And if it doesn't at that point, then just refresh the page and they will show up then. Now, the very first time you use this, you have two steps to do. Normally you'll only have one. We need to hit Use Group Maximizer for this group. Now it has given access, and I'll show you what that does. All right. And then we need to go out of this page, or just refresh the page, and then click Save Group Questions. And you'll see a green icon, Save this group questions successfully. Okay? And it'll refresh the page then. Now, if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to tie your questions into the group. But if you click this first, before clicking that once, it won't have put the group in. And you can see if we go to, let's just go to the web portal and I'll show you this. If we go over to the web portal, now we'll see Group Maximizer in the list. Okay? Now, what I recommend you do, go into group settings, or there's some things you're going to want to do, okay? I'll talk about what some of these are in other videos, such as gender, country, tier, approve if pre-approved, verify. I'll talk about those. Only approve if answered all questions. If you have 3 questions and they haven't answered all 3 and it's required, you can do that and it will not approve them if they haven't done that. But what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to check this Send Data to Google Sheet, and we're going to select the official Facebook group Group Maximizer sheet and confirm. Okay, so that sheet is now connected to this group. Okay, the Group Maximizer group. Now we can go back to the group. Now we're all set up. You never need to do that again unless you change anything up here. So now let's go back here and use Group Maximizer. Now, I only have 2 people in this list. I can kind of scroll down there. You'll see when this is open, I have these checkboxes appeared, right? I can approve all, I can select and decline, or I can decline all. I'm just gonna glance. Yep, email address, questions answered. Yep, email address, questions answered. I'm not doing a pre-approval thing for this video. We're just gonna do it manually, and I can hit select and approve, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now it's gonna ask some things, and it's gonna have these preloaded. Okay, for what I selected over here in the portal. Remember, I had gender, country, tier, and I had Google Sheet. I can do that manually from here, but it'll be preloaded if I've set it up in the group. So that's not really required, but it's recommended. And you can make a copy of the spreadsheet. We've already done that in the other video. We have this, and we have it all uploaded and all of that good stuff. Okay. And then I'm going to hit confirm. And you saw one of the options was download as CSV. You don't have to send it to Google Docs. You could just send it straight to your computer. And it does these one at a time. It takes a few seconds to download them. And then once they're done, we'll get a success message and I'll hit done. Okay? And now there won't be anybody left in there. Now, 2 things we'll be able to see. One is over here in Group Maximizer. If we go to General Information, I may need to refresh this page and then go back to Group Maximizer. They're the 2 people that we just approved. There's some information, how long they've been in the group. This is always based on when you approve them. Date added will always be the date you added them and when it was requested. The group name, the member name, and then you can see how many friends they have. This is friends in common with you. How many other groups they're in. How many mutual friends you have, how many friends they have in the group, and how many common groups you have. Okay, so you can see that kind of information if it's available, and if it's nothing, if there are other things that aren't there, you can see this person doesn't have all of them. You'll notice this page changed. I was in the middle of making the training video, and there was a glitch in the processing, so I couldn't finish it for you because it wasn't working right. Some of it was something we had to fix on our end, and some of it was loose nut behind the wheel, which would be me. So anyway, once you've done it properly, the way I've shown that it should be done, once you've gotten your data in there, you'll see the information here. You can see I've added. Well, let's go to that group only where we were. You'll see there have been other people added. It was only on the last one that I finally got things working here. So what I wanted to show you next, you can see all the interaction we were just talking about the friend details and things like that. If you go to your sheet settings, here's the group, and I actually had to set up a new page under the instructions we did in the last video. But if you go to that page, which you can do by clicking this button right here where it says open, which I've already done, I've got it open over here, you'll see the information comes up on that line. They were approved. There are questions. This is a buddy of mine I just had him test, so I approved him without any answers to make sure we finally had this working. But anyway, so that's it really. You do your you go into your group and you send it out, and then it winds up on the Google Sheet. Now, from the Google Sheet, you can do a bunch of different things. You can download it. You could set up a Zap that when a new line comes into here, if you're using Zapier or Integromat or anything, when a new line comes into here, you could do something with the data, or you can just use this as a backup or a storage. And there are a couple of other things that you might be able to do with these sheets, but for the most part, most people are either going to use them to run a Zap off of them through Zapier, or they're going to use them just for backup data, so that everything's not just stored in the portal, it's also stored on a property that they own, that they'll always have this information. So that's really it for exporting data from a group. In the next video, besides Sheets, you can do some other things. We're going to talk about webhooks. You can use Zapier or Integromat. And but those are a little bit, they're very similar to the Sheets, but they're a little more technical in their setup. A lot of people that aren't as familiar with technical things like webhooks will just use the Sheets and send them out to Google Sheets. But we're going to show you in the next video how to do a webhook. You can do even more things with webhooks. So join us for that.